Hello, my name is Stephen Loud and I'm a real estate investor here in the Houston, Texas area. I use private money from everyday people like you and I on my real estate rehab projects just like this. As a matter of fact, I closed on this deal here with 100% private money. They funded my acquisition costs, which is the cost of the contract. They funded the closing costs and they funded the rehab budget all at closing, and they're just going to sit back and get a return once I sell this property on the open market or once I refinance this property into a long-term rental loan. So what's the difference between hard money and private money? Well, the thing about a hard money loan is they have something called an LTC cost, which can be probably maybe 70% LTC, which I've seen, 75% LTC, 80%, 85, even to 90% LTC. And it stands for loan to cost. To me, I think it means loan to contract. So let's say, for instance, that a contract I get at $100,000, they will cover 90% of that. I'm going to have to come in and fund the other 10%, which means I got to come out of pocket 10 grand. I also have to cover a $1,500 doc fee. I also have to pay another 3 points, which is 3% of their cost, which may be another 3 grand. And then also on top of that, I have to fund the rehab project out of pocket, and I would get that back in draws. So what if the rehab is $50,000? That's 50 grand plus another 10 grand plus another $3,500 plus another $1,500. I'm almost $85,000 out of pocket just to start this project and to finish the project. And that's with a hard money loan at 90% of them covering almost 90% of the cost. So this is one reason why I am getting away from hard money and I'm getting into private money. So one of the ways that I use private money, like I just mentioned earlier, is I don't have to worry about bringing any money to close. That's the biggest thing. And I get the opportunity to scale my business. That's the biggest thing. I like private money because it's scalable and I can take on multiple projects at once rather than having all of my capital tied down on one deal. I can scale and do multiple projects at once with the crews that I have that are readily available and ready to work on my deals. Another thing I like about private money is that I can buy a property like this one. It's a non-conforming property, which means that a particular hard money lender or a bank may not want to lend on the deal because it may need too much work, and it's something they would not want to deal with if they had to foreclose on me, which won't happen. But it's just an older property, it's non-conforming, and they may not want to lend on the deal. But with the private money lender, they can see my rehab budget, they can see the proof of concept of me doing deals like this in the past and closing on it. They'll be like, hey, I see that Steven has this deal here. It is a little bit older, or it is kind of newer, but it's really beat up and needs a lot of work. But the equity position is awesome, and there's room for great gain. So yes, we're going to go ahead and lend our hard-earned money on this deal. I like private money because it gives the opportunity for people, everyday people like you and I, to lend their capital. So obviously we know when you put your money into the bank, you get probably maybe 0.01% APY, which stands for an annual percent yield when you lend that money in the bank, right? So it's going to sit in the bank, and after 12 months, you're going to get 0.01%. But that bank is going to get that money that you put in deposits. They're going to lend that out at higher interest rates and get greater returns and give you nothing for it. So I love to see people begin to learn how to turn themselves into the bank with the capital that they have, and they lend on these deals. And it shows people how to do real estate and how to become a lender and how to create freedom through lending and getting returns while sitting back letting me do the work, and they sit back and just get the return. Private money is so awesome. It just gives me the opportunity to buy a bunch of deals, and I don't have to worry about bringing any money out of my pocket. So another thing about private money that I like, that a lot of people like as well, is you don't have to worry about going through the strenuous inspection period with properties. With hard money loans, they require inspections, appraisals, and all these different things, and it's just it can just have a bunch of conflicting interests. And if you have a motivated seller that may be going to foreclosure, maybe going to a tax auction, they may be dealing with a situation to where they can no longer afford their mortgage payments, and you're trying to close on this property, and you have a deadline on the contract, and your hard money lender they don't care. They want their appraisals, they want price adjustments, they want you to kind of come down on the price so they can get a good deal. Your deal is getting held up because your lender is trying to control the purchase, and it can make for a very strenuous, stressful process, and you can even lose the deal because your lender is just being very, unfortunate before closing. And this can happen a week, even days before closing. So the reason why I like private money is that it doesn't require such strenuous inspection periods. And not saying that I'm going to be, just freely out there buying properties, not caring what I'm buying. I still do inspection periods, but it's not going to halt and hold up the process. I do inspection question periods because I just want to know what I need to do for the property, and I can properly rehab the budget the correct way that I need to do the budget so that I can know what to ask my lenders for when I'm rehabbing and getting the property revitalized. So that's why I like private money, and that's the difference between private money and hard money. And then also with hard money, you have to pay monthly payments on top of everything I'm talking about right now. It's just hard to scale that way. With private money lenders, they don't require monthly payments. They just have capital sitting in the bank, and they want a return on their money because they're losing value to it based off inflation and just sitting in the bank. But if you just sit back and lend the deal and lend the capital on my deals, then you'll be able to get, anywhere between 10% to 14% returns on the deals rather than the money just sitting in the bank. And I don't have to worry about coming out of so much money out of my pocket with the hard money lender. And it's a win-win situation for me as a real estate investor and for you as a private money lender. Again, my name is Stephen Loud. I'm a real estate investor here in the Houston, Texas area, and I use private capital from everyday people like you and I. If you're interested in learning about how you can lend on one of my real estate deals, shoot me a message, DM me and say lend to Stephen, and let's see how we can get you a return and get that dust off of your money sitting in the bank account. Talk to you soon. Peace out.